Actions Research 1, and we'll slide into Action Research 2, and no telling how much further. Could be all the way to Action Research 4. And the last video for our Action Research 1 course for sure. We're going to address reporting action research. Remember, you've done all the pieces for the action research and the action plan, and you've reflected on that. After you've developed and implemented your action plan, it's important that you share your findings with others. In school settings, it's important to invite collegial dialogue about the implications of the research. You want other educators to hear what you've learned, and you want to hear their reactions to the action plan that you've developed. Informal strategies for sharing the findings might include just simple conversations with peers. More formal report writing might be shared with the school board, even presented at a conference. Our main goal for our course here is that you are writing this research project that you will turn in at the end of each course will have a piece of the project, but at the end you'll have all of this put together, and that's certainly a place to say that you have presented your findings. The components of the report, the key consideration for however you would report it would be who's the audience. Who are you reporting to and why? Well, in this case, you're reporting to your LeTourneau instructor. And why? Because it's an assignment, and hopefully, but you've also become very interested in it. The answer to these questions then determine the format, length, amount of detail to include in the report, and that will be given to you from your instructor for our particular purpose of the course. You could, outside of a college course, report your data in written form or through oral presentation, interactive sessions, such as group work or even video and electronic media. Most written action reports have sections similar to other reports, such as other research reports, quantitative or qualitative, but they're usually shorter than some big dissertation thesis, for instance. An outline for an action research report may include, and these are things that you would have in your report, your research project that you're going to have moving from Action Research 1 all the way to the end, is that you'd have an area focus statement or your purpose statement, and then a summary of the related literature. That's your literature review. You'd have your research question or questions, a description of any intervention or innovation, a description of the data collection strategies that you used, data analysis and interpretation, and the action plan, as well as reporting results obtained after implementing the action plan. That really is pretty much the way you'll find the other types of research reported. If action research is to be shared, there should be a criteria for judging the quality of these reports. Some argue that the criteria should be based simply on whether the study produced change that resulted in a solution to the problem. Others, though, talk about the effectiveness of the educational research effort. When we talk about Mr. Rodriguez, he might answer these questions in the following ways. His research led to action. He decided that he would address intrinsic interest. He reviewed his curriculum, and he added historical perspectives from other cultures, particularly the African American and the Latino cultures, representing the backgrounds of the majority of his students. He shared his findings with the other teachers in the alternative school, both in a verbal report at the next teacher in-service day, and he also wrote a 5-page summary report. He discussed with his colleagues his biases when he began the study, thinking that the major reasons for lack of engagement in the class were problems with the students, not with his teaching. He shared that the research experience and the findings had changed his dispositions and his approach to classroom teaching. Participating in the study had also made him more reflective about his practice, his instruction, his processes. He took action to change the curriculum, and he hopes that by creating a more inclusive curriculum, students will be more engaged, more successful in their academic endeavors. The action that he took was connected to the data that indicated a need for more authentic work in the classroom would be important, and an element of which was work that held intrinsic interest for the students. That came out of his surveys, his interviews. His interpretation of student data was enhanced by his connecting it to a framework that he read about in the literature. That came out of his literature review to figure out how he might put that together. He plans to continue monitoring what is happening in the classroom through ongoing observations and a focus group with students next semester, as well as reviewing student progress reports. See the triangulation continuing? He will probably not repeat the individual interviews with students because they were very time-consuming. It turned out that Mr. Rodriguez's colleagues were impressed with his findings, and together they began a study group to examine practices in the school, focusing on ways to create more authentic work for students, and they encouraged him to publish his findings in an action research forum. Let's see where we are on this. Thanks.